Hey folks, welcome back. It has been almost a month since I've been able to work on the RT-1157 by Sharp. Reason is I was waiting for parts, and I have received the parts, and I've got a new episode for you putting some in. It has been a real trial, this guy, and we're not there yet, but we have some interesting problems crop up while we were trying to do it. So here you go, episode 3, I believe, of season 3. Enjoy. Oh, on this, before we get started for episode 3, I've seen videos where people look at cassette decks and they go to figure out what's wrong with them, and then they're doing it solely by, is it worth their time? Can they get money for it? You know, can they make back any money they put into it? And the answer is probably no. Most cassette decks take a while to fix. Matter of fact, my own stereo guy in Las Vegas doesn't do cassette decks anymore because it just isn't worth his time. And if you charge somebody, you know, $100 an hour, you know, to get in there, you spend 9 hours on it, it's $900, and the cassette deck's worth maybe $250. So I do not do this for money. I don't look at it that way, and I'm lucky, I'm fortunate not to have to. I'm retired, and things are going pretty well, but I don't do it for money, and this is more of something to keep my interest going in older electronics, which are making a comeback, by the way. I might sell some of these decks, but I'm not going to make, you know, the money back on them that you spend. That's not why I'm doing it. So I want you to enjoy this, not thinking like this guy's an idiot. He's never gonna recoup his time. That's true, but I don't do it for that. I do it for the love of the age, the time. They're old like me. I like that, and they have value once you get them running. I was upstairs jamming to Pink Floyd and just having a ball on one of the decks I fixed, and that to me is worth the time. So yeah, if you're doing it for money, yeah, you're right, it probably isn't worth your time unless it's something super simple. And you see, getting these decks apart, it's not easy. My hands are all cut up. It takes a while to get the mechanism out and then get it back in, and all the problems you have with that. In this episode, you'll see some of that begin to happen.
Well, hey there, we are back. Finally got the parts we need. We're going to replace the tire and the idler take-up pulley and see how that does for fixing our problem. Remember, the original problem was it didn't do anything. No fast forward, no play, no rewind. So ordinarily that sounds like a belt, but today let's replace these, the tire and the idler. I've got my little parts here. Sorry, let me get them out here. Okay. And then I got to put back in. So before I do that, let's go ahead and get this tire off. Let's see. Let me see. Just a little better. Just come in a little. So we're gonna Boy, that's a tough one. I think it's actually in fairly decent shape. Let's see. Come on. Oh, you. Really didn't want to rip it, but there we go. So that guy, I mean, it's not spongy. So let's clean this a little before we put the new one on. Had a little hiatus here for the Easter break. Happy Easter, happy Passover. Of course, Passover or Easter wasn't a very good time for those involved. Well, Passover, I guess, was. But all right, so we're going to clean that. We're also going to clean this up here. Wow, you can't see what I'm doing. This right in here and get it. So, yeah. Take a little of the rubber off so you can see, you know. So, let's see. I think before I put the tire on, I'm going to drop this black, you guys know this one, take-up pulley thingy, grommet. It's not really a grommet, it's called something else, which I can never seem to remember. I heard you can actually make these out of tubing. I saw online. I said, oh, you just make them with tubing. With tubing, it's like, okay. And actually, the one I put in, oh, for gosh sakes. I'm going to have to change my angle here on this. And angle this down a bit. Pull it out of the way. Oh. I think that went in and went, yeah, I think it's in there. There's a stop for it. I don't think it fell. As soon as we push the capstan through, you'll see it. So I'm cleaning the capstan now. So we're going to put that through. And remember, down in here, you can barely see. There's, see on the end, there's 3 washers on these sharp units. I don't know why 3, but it's very easy to pull it off and they go flying. And of course, they're tiny enough to, yeah, that's it, right? You got to go look for them. Alright, so this thing, it becomes a little difficult to push this through with everything in the darn way. Alright, we're gonna lift this up. Sneak this guy in. I forget how I did this. I have to go back and look. Oh, there you go. Well, that'll certainly do it, won't it? Let me see what you do. It's come all the way up, which is good. We're gonna have to check our wires though very carefully. And then this goes right in here. It's pretty clean. I don't think this deck was used a lot. Now let's take a look. What I'm looking for is to make sure, come on, get out of the way, is in here. You can barely make it out there. I'm going to use a little screwdriver to tap it, to line it up. I imagine you could rip it, so be careful, because these things, I have to send away to whoever is in Czechoslovakia to get these parts. That's why it took so long. And people say, why do you do that? Well, because I don't know where else to go. I haven't been able to find anything. So if you know please comment. Come on. Oh boy. She is putting up a fight. Let's, I'll be right back. Let me get a flashlight and make sure we're not going to rip it. Okay, so we got it in. It's right here. It came through with a bang, scared me, but it is, excuse me, it's properly through the hole of the pickup pulley. So now that's in, and it will hold itself there while I work on the tire. I got a bunch more parts here. I bought some gears. Those, this guy, you remember from the first season, just disintegrated. And I think that's because they're stored somewhere hot and cold, like an attic or a garage. If you have an old one, take it out of there, put it in the house, because it'll just, more deterioration. Okay, so now we're going to put this guy on. Try not to use anything sharp. You don't want to rip it, although it's pretty tough. And good example, I don't know if you can see it. See on my thumb, there's a hairy piece that's from either a Q-tip or the pads. Now that's why in tape drives, we learned this years ago when I was at Goddard, you have to watch those fuzzies because they end up in places where they can affect the overall quality, and it caused, well, in our case, it caused like data dropouts because it was digital. But in the audio part, okay, come on, that's not on there, right? It's twisted. Oh, there we go. All right, one more time. It causes that, and you don't want to. Is that all right? That doesn't seem right either. All right, let's regroup here. This thing has to go on, not with the flat side out. It needs the flat side needs to go in the hole here for it. Slot, I guess you would call it. Now, let's see if I can just pull it gently down while holding. I got that. You have to use your hand to sort of hold it, or else it'll just pop right out. And then not B. Oh, come on now. It's still got a little bend. Ah, there we go. So you want it nice and round. Okay. So now that those two are done, I think the plan here should be to go ahead. Let's, I think I cleaned the heads. I'm going to do it again just in case, because it's been a while since I've been in here. Do a polish. Oh, look at this. See, who says you can't get hurt doing this? She scrapes, dude. A lot of sharp things in here, so make sure you have your tetanus shot. Let's clean it a little while we're here. Although, like I said, this one's pretty darn clean. If it was real dirty, you would see like a brownish buildup on this, the head right here, and even the pinch roller, which is this guy. Let me just clean. And then let's, yeah, I think that's good. Now we have a lot of, look at this, just dirt, dust. I saw this last time, I forgot to clean it. So let's get that while we're here. There is always a lot to clean, and you might as well do it because you don't want to just keep taking it apart. And then I'm examining there's all kinds of little things in here that I don't necessarily understand what they do. And make sure everything looks good. Okay, these guys here, I don't know if you can see that. This guy is the brake. It'll slam down when you're stopped or whatever. That's what I thought was wrong. You might remember I was fooling around with it and see if that was the problem. It wasn't. So, okay. So next up, let's get it back together as I bleed all over everything here. And remember these switches. This guy, there's 2, 3 of them in here. They have to go in the proper, there's like a proper space for them, I believe. Yeah, there's one over here. See it? So, all right, I'm going to turn this over so we can get to it. I think it's better. Am I tying this in a knot? All right, let's have a look here. It's upside down right now. Okay, I can't put this back on yet. I've got to put the assembly back. There was a metal assembly. Oh, that felt good. Alcohol on a cut. Okay, so let's check out our parts here, and then I'm going to have to remember where does this stuff go. So, because we had a lot of different parts than the 1165 had. There's a bracket assembly back. Oh, no, okay, went straight through. And I'm gonna have to figure out where that goes. It went on the capstan. Oh boy. Sometimes it would be better just to cut everything and solder it back. But I'm not there yet. But we may get there to where we can pull these out. So we're trying to, there's an assembly that goes over this, and I have to remember how it went. So I will be back. Okay. I'm back. Dropping things, apparently. Trying to get the capstan cover on in the back and not having a good time of it. There's a little thing there. If I can get one screw in, I can at least hold it in place. Okay, there we go. That one's in. Now I need to do the other one, which of course is the exact opposite. Let go, let go, let go. Come on. We've got ourselves a bit twisted up here. But I need to be able to get to this hole over here. And I have the service manual out, trying to make sure I get the right screws in. And we're getting there. We're just right down here. There's a bunch of pages that open. It's a little tough. Let me find the right page here. There we go. All right, so this is actually, I thought at first this was more, I having a day here, I'll tell you. A little rusty. To get extra hands would be nice, huh? Let's see. According to this, it would be a little hole. Get screwed on. Comes across like at an angle. I'll show you if I can get this screw in. I'm really going to have to go through an exercise of detaching this board completely. This is too difficult. And you can't see anything because it covers everything. So hold on. I'm going to get you in here in a second. Let's see. So, let's see, bring in here. So, this metal KY, grease the spindle, the can, or what's it called? Anyway, I've got that. This goes kind of at a cross angle, like that. And as you can see, it comes sideways. Now that's that. Then there's another piece here that we have to attach to it. And as I recall, oh, I remember. Yeah, we're going to have to back that screw out. I think it has to go. No, it doesn't say that. Through it? Hmm. Okay, we're going to have to fool around some more. Okay, after going through an exercise of putting what I had out. I was not familiar with it, so I had to use the service manual to check it out. Got it all back together and forgot to put the belt on first. So it's good practice. Don't rush. Jeez. Anyway, so now we have to put this back in place. I don't know what they call it, the thing that retains the capstan bolt. And it kind of goes on like up right to down left. So, and it's just not cooperating, to say the least. But that's my fault for thinking I was all the way through it and go, oh yeah, need a belt to run. So I got some new belts, or a new belt, I should say. I got a new counter belt as well. So I'm going to try to hand fit this in. This bolt, this nut, or screw, sorry. It's been kind of a hectic day. Signing up for Medicare. Sweet. There's a bunch of parts to it. Sort of like a cassette deck. Alright, so I got that now. So we'll get this in, and then the belt is in. And then there's the little part I wasn't familiar with. That I think I have a good handle on how to make sure everything's tight. That was not tight. And this is going to need a little grease. Might have to take the. I'll tell you what. Let me use my iPhone. Okay, now we're back reassembling this. We've gotten the never a dull moment with this thing. We've gotten, oh boy, can't see. Okay, we've gotten this assembly back on. I'll pop on the springs. A rough time filming this because I can't use one hand to do it. So, apologize. Getting springs back on. It's funny how springs play a big role in cassette decks. There we go. There's another one up here. Again, you can't see it, so I know it's frustrating. I'm not sure what else to do. I can't turn this. Well, maybe I can. Right? There's a spring right here, which we need to turn around because it goes this way. Really? Okay. Right. I've trapped it in with this piece. So one more time, I'm going to try to get it out. Well, we have some preliminary news about our Sharp RT-1157. I got it back together, and it was a beast. If you're gonna do this guy, at first it looked a lot easier than the 1165, but that was not the case. I was going to try to show you a lot of it, but there's just no way to get a camera in there without a second person and, focusing on the right thing. And let's just say down, oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's try this again here. Down by where the spring connects to the record playback switch. Can't get in there. There we are. You see it right there. There's a number of metal, you see them there, things that have to go in a certain order. What I'd like to do is put together a list of how to take this guy apart and put it back together. But I may not be able to. I had to take it apart a couple times. So, but anyway, like I said, I have some good news here. So we turn it on. It comes back on. Now you see the light in the back is missing. It's actually dangling down. I got to fix that. But in general, remember this didn't play, didn't fast forward, did not rewind. So let's see it. Okay. Forget which one's which here. There we go. So that's play. And you can see The needle's moving. I forget what's on this tape. So that's good. And then we have fast forward. And we have reverse, which was working and now isn't. Okay. So we'll fix that. I think it's because it's loose in the case. I haven't put in all the screws yet. So I got to test record still, but we're making progress. This is what it takes to put in.
You can't do that when you're doing that.
All right, I'll stop.
Oh, why don't you record it quiet? What is touching my head? Dude. Hold on.
We're attempting to put the E-clamp on the rewind gear. It's taking 3 of us to do this.
To be fair, I was just...
2 of us, I guess. I'm not doing anything. My hands shake too much.
Well, that wasn't it. No, it went down.
And it's lost. We'll be back to you soon. Okay. So, after much consternation and flinging E-clamps and really tiny washers, the bright white gear is finally in place. Special thanks to Team Adams here, our daughter Denise and my wife Jocelyn, and whose hands don't shake as much as mine.
Okay, so we ended up having to change the rewind gear. Make sure you do it for every time you pull one of these apart. Otherwise, we've had to go back in and do it. Those orange gears in these sharps, for some reason, just deteriorate over time. This one lost some teeth, and anyway, so we got all that done, and come to find out, it still doesn't rewind properly, and all of a sudden we can't. Play works, the actual tape moves, everything's fine, only nothing comes out. The meters don't go up, no sound comes out at all. However, record actually works. The needles come up and it records. So somewhere with all this moving about, we've shooken something loose. We're going to have to find it in our next episode.